Coming up in the program, we look at highlights from last weekend, or 2 weeks ago almost now, Stockcar Teams Invasion. We also catch up with Martin Halcrow, a man who's no stranger to saloons and also super saloons. We catch up with the pilot of 44P, Brendan Sharland, and we look at highlights from last season's Manawatu Super Saloons. Travel Manager Season Points Update, we look at that as well. Well, a big weekend for the Stockcar Teams Invasion. We had a lot of fun looking at it. Here are some of the highlights.
24P Danielle Halcrow led the Saloons from the opening lap and was never headed. A yellow came out after the 15B of Bill Reid hit the wall in turn 1, but on the restart, Halcrow stayed clear to take the win. 57P Calvin Honore finished second and 242P Ashley King in third. 23P Shane Laking led the Saloons from green and controlled the race up front. Pressure came from 242P Ashley King with 81P John O'Mason running third. A yellow was called late after a car went round and the race was stopped early, giving Laking the win from King second and Mason in third. 242P Ashley King got the perfect start from the front row and led the feature from the opening lap. Early pressure came from 81P John O'Mason with 57P Calvin Honore running third. Danny Halcrow retired early to the infield, but up front King stayed composed to take the feature win from Mason second and Honore in third. The sidecars were back at the Robertson Prestige International Speedway, and in race 1, 57P James Gerard and Kieran Pitcher jumped to the lead early and controlled the sidecars from the front. They opened a handy margin over the chasing pack and were never under threat. At the finish, it was 57P Gerard and Pitcher taking the win from 53P Dylan O'Connell and Kane Hitchman in second, and 13P Willie Jensen and Annalise Jensen in third. Race 2, it was 8P Rob Miller and Jackson Hannon powering to the front early and controlling the race. A strong challenge came from the 7P of Matt Stewart and Nick Dunn until they went infield late, ending their run. At the finish, it was 8P of Miller and Hannon taking the win from 5P Wingnut and Sam McNaughton in second, and 17P Tony Hislop and Aidan Foothead third. Race 3 and 57 of James Gerard and Kieran Pitcher jumped to the front and set the pace from the opening lap. 53 of Dylan O'Connell and Kane Hitchman stayed right on their tail throughout, with the 13 of Willie and Annalise Jensen running third. Despite late pressure after the 57 slightly crossed up, Gerard and Pitcher held on to win from O'Connell second and Jensen in third. Race 4 in the 8P of Rob Miller and Jackson Hannon once again got to the front early and stayed clear in tricky conditions. Two bikes were out early, but the race stayed green as 17P Tony Hislop and Aidan Foothead settled into second. Up front, Miller and Hannon controlled the run to take another win, with Hislop and Foothead finishing in second. For the B feature, 7P Matt Stewart and Nick Dunn made a clean start from pole and quickly pulled clear. Running the pole line, Stewart opened up a gap as the race settled, and at the finish, it was the 7P of Stewart and Dunn taking the win from 13P Willie and Annalise Jensen in second, and in third, 47 of Seb and Rob Jensen. For the sidecar A feature, 8P Rob Miller and Jackson Hannon got away cleanly and quickly opened a handy lead again. A close battle developed behind them, with 57P James Gerard and Kieran Pitcher running second and 17P Tony Hislop and Aidan Foothead in third. But up front, Miller and Hannon stayed composed to complete a hat-trick of wins, taking the race ahead of Gerard and Pitcher, with Hislop and Foothead in third. 172P Daniel Burmeister worked his way through the field and took control late in the stock car race. Early leader 212V Blair Reeve-Smith put up a strong fight, while 53V Max Holloway stayed in the mix throughout. On the final lap, Burmeister made his move stick to take the win, with Reeve-Smith finishing second and Holloway in third. For race 2, 172P Daniel Burmeister grabbed the lead early and set the pace in a fast, physical stock car race. Pressure came from 99V Cody Lockett, with 6V Ashton Mooney running strongly in third as the race settled. Despite late challenges and incidents throughout the field, Burmeister stayed clear to take the win from Lockett second and Mooney in third. The all-in stock car dash for cash feature, 172P Daniel Burmeister controlled it from the front, holding a strong line as pressure came from the Wanganui cars. 212V Blair Reeve-Smith stayed close throughout, and 99V Cody Lockett ran third as the race settled. At the checkered flag, Burmeister completed a clean sweep, taking the win from Reeve-Smith second and Lockett in third. Mini stocks were again split into their 3/4 format, and in race 1, 23P Kobe Dawn came through early interruptions and settled into a strong rhythm to control the opening youth mini stock race. Pressure came from 21P Mason Taylor, with 18P Aidan Waihe staying close behind as the field spread out. At the checkered flag, it was Dawn taking the win from Taylor second and Waihe third. 52P Boston Joblin worked his way through multiple stoppages and took control late in a busy second youth mini stock race. Early pace came from the front group before Joblin made the decisive move to the lead. At the checkered flag, it was 52P Joblin taking the win from 66P Blake Preston second and 98P Corbin Jack in third. For the third heat of the youth mini-stocks, 52p Boston Joblin fired off the front and led the youth mini-stocks in the opening lap. 18p Aidan Waihe stayed right on his bumper, with 77p Will Carroll Holland in close attendance as the pace lifted. For the fourth and final race, 52p Boston Joblin yet again charged through the field from deep on the grid and controlled after an early red stoppage. Up front, 66p Blake Preston stayed in touch, with 21p Mason Taylor holding third as the race settled. At the checkered flag, it was Joblin completing another win from Preston in second and Taylor in third. It was the stock car's turn for teams racing here at the Robertson Prestige International Speedway. 6 teams from around the countryside took part in the annual Teams Invasion. The first race up was the Wanganui Vulcans taking on the Wellington Young Guns, and it was 54W Daniel Pye took the early lead for Wellington as teams racing exploded into action. Big contact came straight away with heavy hits into turn 2, sending multiple cars to the wall while the race stayed green. Blockers came into play early with 82V Dennis Black filling the role as Pye worked through traffic. Mitchell Lockett in the 52V showed strong pace but got caught up in the action, while 16V Cody Alabaster stayed in touch despite late pressure. A late red added tension, but on the restart Pye held his nerve to take the win for Wellington from Alabaster second and Lockett third for Wanganui. In the second teams race of the night, it was the Gisborne Gladiators taking on the Palmerston North Pumas. 98G Bryce Simpson took control early for Gisborne, finding clear track after the opening exchanges as block cars went straight to work behind him. Heavy contact followed through the pack, with several cars spun or sent to the infield as the race stayed aggressive. Simpson survived a big swing that narrowly missed and extended his advantage, while teammates moved into blocking roles. Multiple reds slowed the momentum, but each restart saw the 98G back out in front with no immediate threat. Behind him, 127G Ethan Reeves worked his way through the chaos into second, while 135p Jaden Hall stayed clear of trouble to hold third. At the checkered flag, it was Simpson untouched for the win from Reeves second, both Gisborne drivers, with Jaden Hall third for the Palmerston North Pumas. The last two teams to go into battle were the Palmerston North Colts taking on the Waikato Raiders. 19H Ashley Morton settled quickly into a strong rhythm as the Colts and Raiders went straight to work. Early on, there was heavy action throughout the pack, with multiple cars pushed to the wall and blockers taking effect immediately. The race swung when key Colts runners were delayed, allowing 361H Clinton Cheaton and Morton to move into the picture as traffic stacked up ahead. Strong blocking from 13H Jamie Simmons played a decisive role, shutting down the trace and forcing rivals wide and onto the grass. With the white flag out, Morton broke clear for the Waikato Raiders, held her line despite late pressure. At the checkered flag, it was the 19H Ashley Morton taking a boil-over win from the Colts, 16p Wayne Verco in second and 11p Brendan Reeves in third. Round 2 action got underway with the Palmerston North Pumas taking on the Wanganui Vulcans. 133p Tyler Walker carried the Palmerston North Pumas' hopes as the team's race exploded into action. Early chaos struck when 48p Josh Mulcahy rolled heavily after contact from 82v Dennis Black, bringing an immediate stoppage and removing a key runner. On the restart, 52v Mitchell Lockett hit the front and controlled the pace for much of the race as blocking intensified behind him. Heavy contact continued through the pack, including a big wall hit for 223p Rightier Robinson, which reshuffled the running order once again. Late in the race, Walker broke free as Puma teammates went into full block mode, shutting down the Vulcans' chase. At the checkered flag, it was a 1-2 for the Pumas, 133p Tyler Walker taking the win from the 667p of Hamish McLeod, and for the Vulcans, 16v Cody Alabaster came home in third, sealing a hard-fought teams racing result for the Palmerston North Pumas. The race on the card saw the Palmerston North Colts taking on the Wellington Young Guns, and 16p Wayne Verco emerged as the key car early as the race quickly descended into chaos. A big spin on the opening laps slowed the field before heavy contact followed through turn 2, sending multiple cars into the wall as the blockers went to work immediately. 11p Brendan Reeves briefly showed the way, but the lead changed hands several times as Wellington cars were spun or forced wide. A massive rollover involving 39p Graham Munn brought another stoppage, with debris scattered across the track and several cars left wounded. As the race settled, Verco found clear air and controlled the closing stages, while 54W Daniel Pye fought through the damage behind him. At the checkered flag, it was the Colts that took the win, with 16p Wayne Verco taking the flag from the Young Guns 54W Daniel Pye in second and the Colts 11p Brendan Reeves third, sealing a hard-fought teams racing victory. The final round robin match saw the Gisborne Gladiators taking on the Waikato Raiders, and it was 127G Ethan Rees showing his team's racing experience straight away, hitting the jump as the fields hesitated at the green. Early pressure followed with heavy contact through the pack before a big rollover for the 11H car brought a stoppage and reduced the numbers. On the restart, Ethan Rees continued to control the pace, using traffic and blocking to his advantage as cars were turned around in front of the grandstand. There were further heavy wall hits, and a clash between teammates sent both cars to the infield as the race intensified. Despite the chaos behind him, Ethan Rees kept his momentum, with 96G Brad McGee giving chase and 98G Bryce Simpson staying in the hunt. At the flag, it was a Gisborne 1-2-3, with the 127G Ethan Rees taking the win from 96G Brad McGee and 98G Bryce Simpson third, sealing a very dominant team's performance for the Gisborne Gladiators. The conclusion of the round robins, it was the Gisborne Gladiators topping the points. They will take on the Palmerston North Colts in the final, and for third and fourth, it'll be the Palmerston North Pumas taking on the Wellington Young Guns. A race for third and fourth was between arch rivals Palmerston North Pumas and Wellington Young Guns. As the race got underway with 5 cars apiece, there was no hesitation at the green for the outside line, or the inside line stalled immediately. The opening laps erupted into chaos with heavy contact through the field, and a big shunt from the 133P Tyler Walker saw the 7W Harrison Hocking hit the wall nose first and roll onto his roof, forcing an early stoppage and reducing the Wellington numbers. The limited support around him, Davis soon found himself isolated, surrounded by Pumas cars as blocking began to take effect. As the laps ticked by, momentum swung decisively. Walker made his move and hit the front, while teammates went into full blocking mode behind him. Wellington struggled to regroup, with Tim Parker in the 21W turned around and further contact down the back straight, slowing any counter-attack. Despite the pressure at the flag, 133P Tyler Walker took the win and sealed a dominant third place overall for the Palmerston North Pumas. The big final saw the Gisborne Gladiators looking to emulate their Superstock team, the Giants, from the week before, while the Palmerston North Colts development team found themselves in the final. 96G Brad McGee lined up, knowing this was a pivotal teams race, with the Colts facing a tough assignment against a seasoned Gladiators lineup. From the drop of the green, it was immediate action as 86P Bo McLeod turned hard right on the 127G Ethan Rees. The opening exchanges quickly escalated with a massive rollover for 668P Paul Gaskin, his race ending after just meters and forcing an early stoppage. On the restart, the intensity did not ease. Curtis Tinetti in the 77P went to work, delivering heavy contact before being spun himself, while Ethan Rees fired back with a big hit on the 39P Graham Munt in front of the grandstand. Debris littered the racing line, with McGee driving straight through broken bodywork as the Gladiators began to assert control. As the laps wound down, McGee emerged into clear air and took command of the race. Behind him, 27G Ethan Rees regrouped into second, while 126G Asher Rees slotted into third as blocking continued to disrupt any sustained Colts counterattack. Late dives and desperate last lap efforts from Tinetti came to nothing, with further spins only compounding the damage. At the checkered flag was a 1-2-3 yet again as Brad McGee took the win for the Gisborne Gladiators from Ethan Rees second and Asher Rees third, sealing a composed and clinical teams race victory for the Gisborne Gladiators after one of the most physical races of the night. There's our podium. The Gisborne Gladiators take the overall victory of the Palmerston North Teams Invasion. The Palmerston North Colts come home in second, and the Palmerston North Pumas home in third.
Well, the bottom of 2 Super Saloons aren't too far away, and we decided to get the real oil on saloon car racing. Well, naturally enough, we went to Marty Halcrow out at Marty Halcrow's place, and you see the 2 race cars behind us. We decided to get the oil on the answers to questions that people have been talking about. Marty, let's look at saloons versus super saloons. What are the main differences?
The main difference is really is in the engines, and probably not so much the shock package anymore, but it's the engines, probably a little bit of the driveline, like the gearbox. Once a saloon car can have a 360 cubic inch engine maximum, 361 or whatever, but and a super saloon can have a 434. And basically, a super saloon motor is an open motor nowadays. It's do what you like. Apart from there's a few restrictions in the aluminium engines. Where a saloon car is stuck to an iron block, iron heads, you've got to have a head that's approved aftermarket heads. There's a couple that are approved heads. And they've got to run a 600 Ahoy carburetor maximum, so vacuum secondary carburetor, which restricts the power.
Any difference in the wheels, tyres?
Not so much anymore. With the 4-bar cars are running the same right rear tyre as the saloon car, or vice versa. The saloon cars running the same right rear as the super, but it's where before, like a Super Saloon would have a bigger right rear, the old torsion bar cars, they ran a bigger right rear tyre. The saloon car was restricted to a maximum of 100 inch. Now a Super Saloon can't go under 100 inch.
When you mentioned 4-bar, people have said, what is that? What does 4-bar mean?
It's got 4 radius rods holding the diff in and attached to the boot cages or diff housing or whatever part they're attached to. A 4-bar car has an active type rear steer in the car, which is a component that actually makes the rear steering makes the car work, right? So it's not so much the 4-bar part of it, because 4-bar's been around since inception of saloon cars, but not active. Nobody really cracked it, and really, I think the active 4-bar car really only come into conception over the last 10 years.
As far as the technical part of the saloons are concerned, are they changing rapidly, or are they pretty much what they always were?
No, there's been a rapid change in the cars, with the inception of the Cowling cars, so Cowling Motorsport cars, and the stealth cars from Mark Osborne and Tiny. They've cracked it, both teams have, both builders they've cracked the code, and the cars are faster, right? They're faster than the torsion bar cars on certain tracks, right? If the tracks, they don't like rough tracks, but they're bloody fast on slick tracks.
What sort of advice would you give a young person who just starts off in saloons? What do they need to learn, and what do they need to know about both driving the car and the car itself?
Young people in the sport coming out of mini stocks, right? Most of them are used to momentum racing, right? And you can't really stay in momentum all the time in these cars. It's going to be on and off and stuff like that. And a new person coming in needs to take their time to feel their car out, right? Don't be in a hurry to start in the grid, right? Because if you start behind, you can see what's in front of you. There's nobody behind you. You can actually race on the track where you want to race. And once you can do that, you can get the feel of the car, right? And once you've got the feel of the car, that's what you want. You want to be able to feel that car. You need to drive off your bum. You've got to feel that car. And if you can't feel the car under you, then you've got a problem. Because it's not about what the steering's doing. You've got to have steering feel, but if you can feel the car, exactly what the car's doing, that's what you're after, And so everything the car does, you can feel it when it wants. If it's drifting into the corner, you can feel it. If it's tight in the corner, your body language of the car goes into you. It's like it becomes part of the car's got to be part of you. Once your car's part of you, you always see you've got to look at Steve Flynn. Right, he got to be part of that car.
Yeah, that's right.
There's no two ways about it. It's 30 years old, and it's still the fastest car on the track at most meetings. Yeah. So.
Well, if you look at these two cars, I mean, roughly how old are those cars now?
Well, that Super there, that's my car. That's on this side. That was actually built as a saloon car during COVID. Yeah. That's what we call a lockdown car. And because I ran out of stuff to build trailers. I had enough pipe in a rack to build a chassis, so I set about building that. But
so there's so much difference, even though it's just a few years old. The technology is changing.
The technology's changed, but the car was never built to be a super saloon. It was built to be a saloon car. It's the chassis is now identical to the Ashley's car. The saloon car there, that's Danny's car. Well, like I said, I built that when she was 17 years old, so it's 12 years old.
About 12 years old now, yeah.
And it's still one of the quickest cars out there.
Marty Halcrow, thank you for your time. Thank you for your expertise and your knowledge. We appreciate it. We learn a lot. Every time we come and talk to you, we learn a hell of a lot. We do appreciate your time.
Yeah, that's right. Cool. Yeah.
Marty Halcrow from Halcrow Trailers. He's a man that loves to give back to the sport. If you're a saloon driver and you've got a problem with your car or just want to know something, go and talk to Marty. He'll put you in the right direction. Well, the Multiple 2 Super Saloons are not far away, days in fact, and we decided what an opportune time to catch up with Brendan Sharland, the man behind the 44P. Mate, thank you for your time. Lovely to meet up with you. Where did it start for you?
My dad used to crew for a super saloon driver, Jeff Williams, way back in the early 80s to the sort of early 90s. And I was always begging Dad to come along to Speedway. Been a few years, it's always been in the blood really. So yeah, right through till today. So I don't know, yeah, nearly 40 odd years, just about.
What was it that sort of piqued your interest?
I started off doing a little bit of car racing when I was in high school, and then it sort of got time to move out and fend for myself, and I went flatting, and karting was just a little bit too expensive to stay competitive at the level that I was at. So I sold the go-kart, and then there was a friend who actually helped work on the go-karts at Kiwi Karts, Tony, and his boy was selling a mini stock, and I thought, oh gee, I wonder if I could do that, so I really wanted to give it a go. So I thought, I'll buy one and then see what happens.
So you bought the mini stock. Tell me about the first night you went out the pit gate.
Went out the pit gate, and I could hear a noise, and I thought I should probably park it, but bugger out, I'm just going to run it and see what happens. And I think I did a lap or something, and the wheel fell off. And
That's right.
I thought, oh yeah, no, that's what that noise was.
So you missed the stock car completely. You went straight from the mini stocks to the Superstock.
Yeah, I missed the stock car. Thought I'd go and play with the big boys, and I managed to buy Bruce Ward's car. Did a few meetings in that one, and it was a pretty old car, to be honest, and I had a little bit of trouble driving it for a start. Once we got that sorted, it was sort of hooked. So did that for about 6 years.
And then the Super Saloon concept came along. Where did that come from?
Yeah, well, I guess I sort of looked at after breaking my neck in the stock car. It was just one of those things that happened. Really, it wasn't a big hit at all. It was just an awkward way of hitting the wall. I was very, very lucky. Came out relatively uninjured. After 6 weeks on my back with a neck brace on. So decided that was it. I didn't want to risk injuring the same injury again, I guess. I wasn't
Aggravating it, yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't worried. I thought I was pretty lucky. I didn't want to push my luck too much further than that. So sold that, and then probably had about, it was probably 4.5 seasons, and started to get itchy feet again, I still went along to Speedway, still watched, still wanted to be involved. So that's why we did a bit of sponsorship with the Mustangs and that through there. So I thought, well, perhaps those saloon cars seem to be growing as a class. That's how I started initially. My interest in Speedway was through saloon cars. So I thought I'd give it a go, and then happened to be talking to Jake Baker one meeting, and he happened to have a bad race and crashed the thing, and then messaged me the next day and said, oh, that Super Saloon's for sale if you want to have a look at it.
Oh, yeah.
Ended up convincing the wife to spend a little bit of money and go Super Saloon racing and back into it.
So where did the car come from?
So this car originally was a Chris Cowling car, so it was 2NZ, yeah. I think about 5 seasons ago, and then Jake Baker brought it. I think he did sort of did a season and a half kind of thing in it. And then, so I've taken it on, and not much has changed other than the colour of it, really. So it's a torsion bar car, so it's not a fancy leaner car like these, like the latest American style ones, but I'm pretty sure we've still got a bit more speed to find out of it yet, so I'm quite interested in working out the setup on it and trying to get it to go as good as it can, even though technology has moved on a little bit. They're still competitive on some tracks.
Brendan, I've got to ask you, you mentioned before we started chatting away, you've got a very slight disability. You'd never know.
So I was born with a condition called arthrogryposis. Don't ask me to spell it. So we definitely had our struggles growing up. I didn't learn to walk till I was probably 4 years old, and I've had quite extensive operations on my legs. So basically, I've got minimal movement in my legs. I haven't got much bend from my knees and my ankles. Definitely we had. I struggled. I could fit in a mini stock just, and then again when we went into the Superstock, mate of mine, David Kernahan, him and I spent hours in the shed just trying to come up with a pedal system that would work. And yeah, there was times when it did affect me. I did have trouble a couple of times teams racing, especially after getting a big hit, and I just couldn't physically get my legs back onto the pedals. So that was frustrating. And of course, you're strapped in really, really tight as well, which sort of limits your movement even more. But I still managed to do it, and we came up with ways. It came up with ways to get it to work. I guess in a way it has affected me a little bit, but I try not to let it affect me too much. We just try and figure out a way around it. That's one great thing with the saloon car, is that I do have exceptional amount of room in there, and I can position the seat in a really great position. And we do a lot of left foot braking, which is similar back to my karting days. So it comes quite naturally to me. So yeah, it's definitely been a challenge.
So far, what would you consider to be one or two highlights of your career so far, across all classes?
I think, getting selected for the Mustangs, we raced, got picked for the Mustangs in 2018-19 season, and it was the first year that Rebecca Barr, was picked to race for teams, and that team was really cool. We had a real good atmosphere. Going out in front of that Teams Champs crowd, that's something you just never forget. And I wished I kind of got the chance to do a bit more of that. But that was a highlight. I did get to my dream was always to race for the Panthers, and I did manage to do one race for the Panthers up at Huntley.
Well, there you are. You're a Panther.
That's right. So that was pretty cool. And I managed to actually win the race, which was even better. I don't think I've ever been so nervous in a car, and you just don't want to let your teammates down. So that whole teams racing thing is just such a great buzz. And if you can get a really good team atmosphere going, then it's just great fun.
What's your priority for the season?
Just keep learning this car. Like it's a torsion bar car. It's sort of a more sort of older technology, I guess you'd carefully say. I know there's some people that that can definitely make these cars go. So we've got to keep working on the setup, keep trying to get the most out of this car that we can, and just keep trying to finish consistently. Really try and get up the pointier end of the field. And I've got to teach myself to be patient. I get a bit impatient in this, and in a Superstock you can sort of hit your way through the field. Whereas
make space.
You can't make space. You've got to wait for that gap.
Well, Brendan, I appreciate your time. Somebody said to me a couple of days ago, I said I'm going to be talking to Brendan a bit later in the week. They said, Brendan? I said, yeah, Brendan Sharland. Oh, he said, Mr. Nice Guy. And he was quite right. You are, mate. I do appreciate your time. Brendan Sharland, 44P. Will he be on the podium for the Manawatu Super Saloons this weekend? Every chance. Keep an eye out. Time to catch up with the highlights from last season's Manawatu Super Saloons. Trying to cut a bit of the grass, but 87 is out there as well. He looks like he's shooting down the straight. doing pretty well. Thomas Stanaway. Then we get back to 41. Both these guys are my ex-team members. Stanaway. Then we go to 41. Jason Long. They are first two. Then we go to Montepero. Then we go to Gary Davis. Actually, King Peter Bengstein. Thomas Stanaway is gaining some ground on Jason Long. 27 Dan Montepero sitting in third place. Actually, King in fourth. Peter B. Going down the side of 242. Has he passed? Yes, he has. Looks like he's going to go right around the end. He might have got a couple on this pass. Stanaway, Long, Montepero, King, Benston, Halcrow. Thomas Stanaway, your lead car, the 87B, out of the way, Jason Long, the defending champion, looking for a way past him. A little bit of a touch. Looks like the 6 is Grant Flynn is trying to find a way on the inside. But the action is all off the front. Stanaway, Long, Flynn. Stanaway getting remarkable control of the car. He's out the front. 41 is desperately trying to pick him up, but not working. Giving him a little nudge in the back to let him know he's there. Big Grant Flynn, the 6B, he's trying to find a way through. He's not having a lot of success either. As the captain faces the checkered flag. Good win for Thomas Stanaway. Then we go to 41 for Jason Long. Then we go to Grant Flynn, 6B.
We're going to get the green this time round though. Steve Flynn, Grant Flynn setting the pace. Grant gets a good jump there over Sean Wade. Here comes Jason Long, the 41 up the inside, not to be. Settling for third at the moment. There's Thomas Stanaway in behind, and one of the wall, it's Ashley King, the 242. And here comes Jason Long trying to find that inside line on Sean Wade. Not at the moment though. Now Stanaway just trying to keep Long honest. Pokes the nose on the inside of the 41B. Look at the left front lifting on that 41 car. The defending champion. Oh, you've gone too much though, I think. The Stanaway could have the run here on Long. Fourth, third. And Long's gone wide again. Now look at Thomas Stanaway trying to get to the inside of Sean Wade. We saw him working that inside line in the pole shuffle. He gets it done. He may even pick up Grant Flynn here too. He almost had a run on him on the exit of 4. And Stanaway down the bottom there. Flinny up top. The 87B pushing on for the lead. He's got it as well. 4 laps in. And Thomas Stanaway is your leader.
Halfway there.
For a line that is going to hook up on the 56K.
Oh, up the wall, back
Up
down.
the wall, that's Brendan Sharland. 1 to go for Thomas Stanaway on his way to his maiden Super Saloon title. He's riding behind Gregory. He wants that bottom line as well, doesn't he? Yeah. Gets up the inside. Thomas Stanaway, 87B, will be your Manawatu Super Saloon champion ahead of the 6B, and the 58K will hold on for the 3rd spot, Dave.
Welcome back to the Robinson Prestige International Speedway for Week 8 of the Travel Manager's Seasons Points Chase. These points come from the most recent points eligible meeting, and the only classes running for season points on that night were sidecars, saloons and youth mini-stocks. In the sidecars, the championship chase continues to tighten. 89p Wayne and Max Lett. They lead the way on 56 points. 8p Rob Miller and Jackson Hannon close behind on 52 points. And 13p Willie Jensen and Annalise Jensen holding third on 49 points. In the saloons, consistency is proving crucial. 242p Ashley King sits on top of the table with 50 points. 57p Calvin Honoré follows up on 44. And 7p Clayton Moore remains firmly in the hunt on 42 points. And in the youth ministocks, the battle for the front is intense. 52p Boston Joblin leads the standings on 96 points. 294p Charlie Newman right behind on 93. And 77 Will Carroll Holland rounds out the top three with 73 points. That's your Week 8 Travel Manager Seasons Points update. Racing returns this weekend after Christmas, of course. We'll be back to see who can carry momentum forward as the season fires back up. Until then, keep it fair, fast and right on the clay.